Welcome back. It's a brand new season of CGL.
This is just an absolute treat. These players are so damn good.
The talent on these teams is undeniable. Everybody on every team right now is making plays.
It's going to be an exciting start to the season, and it'll just get better from here on out.
We're about to step to a whole new era of Overwatch esports. So much exciting action is happening here on CGL that you do not want to miss. Look who's starting it all off, it's Raven. No one necessarily figure out what is the right way to go just yet.
But if I scroll through what they is just gonna solidify everything for Mythos.
Does come back and Arsario against the mech, but I don't need a mech. I'll kill 4 anyway.
This is just a highlight reel for Arsario right now.
They're making a statement in the EU Masters Tour.
This patch is still incredibly fresh. There's so much to learn, so much to change about the way we play the game.
NKC, but the shatter is colossal.
Let's get it going.
Trades keep coming through. Lores, you're gonna be able to find these shots true.
Inu on the overclock with 2.
Here comes an Anvil immediately goes back there. Fine skills, slicing and dicing their way through 2, 3. So back and forth.
Oh, good evening, one and all. It is time for the CGL playoffs for the Diamond tier. We have a match between Solar-Eclipse and Phantoms. I'm HD Philly. Oh. Oh, I was live. Oh, okay, cool. Hi, everybody. Sometimes I see myself, sometimes I don't. It's HD Philly B here, along with Thor. So excited to have you on. How are you doing, my friend?
I'm doing completely well. It is a fun night of Overwatch, right? We are hitting the playoffs and it's going to be a wonderful time, especially now that we are going to be seeing a matchup between Solar-Eclipse and Phantoms. A tale of 2 different stories. Solar-Eclipse, #1 seed, really dominant throughout, the season. Phantoms looking, to turn things around, maybe, to take this from under the noses of Solar-Eclipse. That's what their goal is at the end of the day.
Absolutely, yeah, just to highlight some of the things, and we'll check out the bracket a little bit later, but Phantoms, they just squeaked right in there via map differential. They had the same amount of points as 2 other teams, but their map differential was -4 instead of -7, and they were able to make it in as the 8th seed into the playoffs there. So the big thing to note, though, Thor, is that these teams have not yet faced during the regular season, so it could really be anybody's game. But from what we can deduce based on scores and strength of schedule, things like that, really a David and Goliath matchup.
Exactly, but before we can head into that David and Goliath matchup, let's take a look at the other streams that are currently running in the CGL for tonight. On the main CGL Twitch channel, you have Celestial Knights versus Shrubel Nation, which are the Masters division matchup. So you could head right over there, have both at the same time, running, and to see what the action is going at. But hey, how both these teams got here for Solar-Eclipse and Phantoms is, based on the brackets.
Yeah, we're gonna head into that now. So far, Thor, every series has been a 3-0. So hopefully we get a little bit of a mix-up here tonight and maybe get a 3-1 or 3-2 matchup. Maybe we go the distance. But at the end of the day, one of these 2 teams will be facing Cuddle Puddle, another top contender in our Diamond tier division. So it's just a tough road all the way to the grand finals.
Exactly, and for both of these teams, they want to reach that grand finals, but before they can head there, they do have to face against each other for ultimately taking this win as we head into the bans phase of these two teams, with Solar-Eclipse being the higher seed, banning first.
Oh, this is my favorite part. I'm always curious to see, what strategies these teams go for. Do they go for what is meta? Do they go for a target ban on the other player? Is there a specialist on the other side? But it is Solar-Eclipse banning the Mei first and foremost here.
And I think the Mei ban makes complete sense if we are heading to a map like Lijiang Tower. Solar-Eclipse had picked Lijiang Tower as the go-to map for this first round, and hey, a Mei ban is pretty solid if you're trying to avoid, walls and map redesigns from that wall. But on the other hand, Phantoms have decided to ban the Ana.
Yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense. Ana fairly strong, though. I was watching the OWCS today, and there was a lot of Brig Juno going around, a lot of Sim on control as well. So this could just be a more targeted ban here from Phantoms, recognizing that there's a solid player like Hollander on the side of Solar-Eclipse that can really do some damage and put the hurting on with a hero such as Ana.
Yep, and with these bans now in place, let's take a look at the starting lineups for both of these teams. So first off, we do have Solar-Eclipse coming out for that DPS line, or reverts, Hollander, the tank, Cloud Lemon, and finally that very juicy backline, it's Vert and Cernius.
Oh man, I got to cast with Vert last week or the week before. He's such a fantastic person to be with, and so I'm rooting for him out here tonight. This is such a very solid squad. They have a lot of good team chemistry. They can mix and match their roster very well. Like Hollander is listed as a flex support. Now he's playing DPS here tonight, so they know that they have a really good chemistry. I'm curious to see what the lineup here is for Phantoms, because they've been mixing it up here with each and every week.
Yep, and let's take a look at this lineup. You do have Salt and our player Maddie as that DPS line, Azure on tank, and Soda and Mystic as that back line. And they have a tough challenge going up against Solar-Eclipse, but if they're mixing things up, trying to figure out the right synergy, let's hope that this matchup they get to show it.
Absolutely, and there are a couple of rookies on this squad. And when I mean rookies, that means it's just their first time in the CGL. So Azure, being the tank player, they are a rookie here. So definitely something to be looking out for. Mystic is a longtime veteran, the captain of her squad, and it makes sense that she's on the Lucio. Usually that character is the shot caller because they have a good vantage point of what's going on the battlefield. This is going to be a tale of two backlines, I think, for me, Thor, as we move into it. We have our map pool here now. Lijiang Tower will be first.
Yep, and Lijiang Tower tried, tested, true, quintessential control map. I think almost all teams will have scrimmed this more than 10 times in their scrim lifetime, right? It is a map that has been around since Overwatch 1, but even with that shift in Overwatch 2, a lot of teams still get practice on it and try to innovate it. It's a map that, while you can come out with tried and tested compositions, they are predictable, and somehow you'll see teams trying to reinvent how it's played to get that upper hand. But when we take a look at what they're running, I'm terrified. More so because there's a Mauga, but also because I know the Mauga just kind of got nerfed also.
Yeah, that's a really good point, right? The perk with the two hearts, right, is really good on control, but exactly, got nerfed. So are they still in that meta kind of position? Right now we've been seeing a lot of Ramatra on control maps and a lot of other map types as well. So this is actually a really great instance for us to kind of gain some data. Is the Mauga versus Ram matchup that good or that bad? We will see. At first, Azure, he's just running in and running out, doesn't like what he's seeing first up.
No, but I think that's a turnaround just to really get into and help heal for the backline. And that's not really looking great with Phantoms dropping already very low.
Yeah, and I like this position from Reverts, taking a great angle off the side, but it is Cloud Lemon who's able to get the first blood there, but sacrifices himself, and it's Reverse in that nice off angle, gets a couple, but the kill feed is just going left and right. It's a bloodbath here on the control tower. Everybody is going down, but the first cap does go the way of Solar-Eclipse.
goes away Solar-Eclipse, and it's just feasible for them to just back off now with, the key players dropping low, especially that Revert somehow dies to Soda. The Kiriko's still alive, so that allows for Azur to continue and contest the point, but everyone else is back for Solar-Eclipse.
And what's big is that Soda is ahead in the ultimate charge, so if they can stay alive a little bit longer, get an early Kitsune rush, that could be the nail in the coffin. The flip does come through, and Azure finds his opposite number, takes down Cloud Lemon. Now the kill feed is in all colored in red. Mystic getting a double out there. They are bullying their way onto this point.
Yep, Red Blood of the Angry Phantoms taking that point back from Solar-Eclipse, and just taxiing back Soda, who did die pretty early on but is still leading in that ultimate charge. No ultimates online except for that Genji blade, and without the Kiriko rush yet, this might be a dry blade from Hollander should they try to engage with it.
A very risky one at that, like you mentioned, but Reverts might have something to say about it, but the blade does go in, and it's the Suzu's been forced out early, so no protection there. He is hacking and slashing, does find two very crucial eliminations at that. Can they go for a triple kill? They're chasing down this pesky Lucio, but is very shifty indeed. Turning and tail and running is the side of the Phantoms. The flip goes the way of Solar-Eclipse.
Yeah, and that's really just the smart play from Hollander, understanding that beat was not online yet from Mystic, so that was a free blade, nothing to contest but the Suzu, and it had been used early. Now you're going to have a rush v rush scenario and double beat, so this is going to be an ult dump just to at least get through this choke point, and that might be opened with a Kiriko rush.
Oh, but they're already down a player. The numbers advantage. Now a nice slice through. Oh, Hollander on an absolute tear here on the Genji, just cutting through the opposition.
I think there was an attempt to really just pincer that, but the timing, Solar-Eclipse saw the opening and just rushed into the, squishier path of Phantoms. Now, I'm hoping that Phantoms now finally engage and really call out and use that ultimate, because they really need one to push through this choke.
And there it is, the Kitsune rush to open this engagement, immediately countered by the beat. It is player Maddie. She is trying to hack her way through the back line and does create enough space for two to go down. The Kitsune rush just overwhelming the side of Solar-Eclipse. They are going back to the spawn room doors. Azure doing a dust stomp there to get a double kill. Just cleanup kills going their way. They're able to flip. The big thing here, though, Solar-Eclipse only invested one ultimate in that fight.
Yeah, it was a costly fight for Phantoms, and they're going to have to, keep this point alive with just that cage from Azure, maybe build ultimates from it. But if you're Phantoms, you should be worried because the barrage is already online for Solar-Eclipse, and they're probably going to use it with the cage.
Okay, but locked into place here. Now the Annihilation, they do have that in their back pocket should they need it, but no, they go toe-to-toe with the Samoan Warrior, and they've come out the victor. It is Cloud Lemon just going through everybody. An easy flip here for Solar-Eclipse.
Easy flip, Ramatra ultimate still online, and that, is going to be a pretty much a solidifying lock of that point, because no one else from Phantoms can really survive through it, especially when there are no other ultimates to work with for Phantoms.
Malga just has to jump onto the point just to get the overtime wick of burning, but now the Annihilation, those nanobots are hungry for victory here in the CGL playoffs. They are munching through everybody. A blade here, just a little cherry on top. A double kill for Cloud Lemon, the tank player. Nobody can stand it for an instant on this point, but they are trying their hardest as the overtime wick still continues to burn. A nice swift strike there from the Genji, cleans it up, and round one goes the way of Solar-Eclipse.
It does, but I think Phantoms have at least shown that they can retake that point, can fight toe-to-toe with the Solar-Eclipse. A lot of this at the end of the day just boiled down to the ultimate usage. Solar-Eclipse, more conservative, understands that they need ultimates to keep the point, continuously on their side. So the fact that Phantoms needed to use 4 ultimates just to take back the point, while Solar-Eclipse was saying, hey, we're willing to just give up the beat, that's completely fine, and it did work in their favor. At the end of the day, what I want to see from Phantoms on this, second round of control is to be more maybe conservative or cognizant of the ultimates that they're using to push in and to fight in, because that really is going to make or break how this match is going to turn out.
Absolutely, on control, alt economy is everything, because that is how you can toggle yourself onto the point. A nice engage here from the side of the Phantom, staying with the Symmetra. We talked about how the OWCS, a lot of teams have been playing this composition with the Symmetra on, but it's Hollander who opens up the kill feed, immediately getting themselves into the backline, and a dive comes in. Cloud Lemon switching over to the Diva, just going annihilating people here. Well done from the Solar Eclipse. The point, though, has not yet flipped in either person's favor. Still, the teams are battling it out for the control here. Finally, it looks like it has been cracked. Solar Eclipse will get it first.
Yep, Solar Eclipse just feasibly waiting for maybe that one pick to turn things around and looking for heroes that are low and the Diva could just simply dive on, because that's what happened to Phantoms, right? They saw the low targets, really went in for them and then backed out. It's just rinse repeat cycle with a Diva, but already just bothering them like a pest in the backline is Hollander, who's very close to, a pulse bomb, and that could just deny a push even further.
Yeah, game-changing ultimate it can be, or it can do nothing. We've seen it go both ways, but right now, being found out, that's why you switch to the Cassidy. It's a twofold maneuver to, find the Pharah and the Tracer as well, so Salt can be working overtime here. The buzzing of the Symmetra not able to cut, or gets cut down, excuse me, but Cloud Lemon has the bomb ready and waiting. Do they decide to let it go? Could just be that extra ledge. Working in tandem, though, with Reverts, and they're finding elimination after elimination. The Kitsune doing a massive amount of work. A deadlift here from the projectile DPS, cleaning it up, and they hold.
Yep, a lot of this just had to be angles, because when you're playing with a Pharah, you want to push the enemy team into an open space where that Pharah could just pepper damage from the air on a different angle, and they have this barrage, definitely going to combo it as Phantom push through this. So I see where the Pharah is positioning, just waiting for them to push, and Phantoms seem like they're aware, so they're going to have to push in with offensively a rush just to create space.
Oh no, they got pulled into that tiny space. Reverts letting the justice fly, finding a multitude of kills. A direct shot there onto Maddie. That has got to hurt. Now they're cleaning up just the final member, just the tank of Azure, who gets a little bit of retribution, but it doesn't even matter. The point has been in the favor of Solar Eclipse this entire time, Thor.
Yep, and it's going to be a huge rollout that you need from Mystic, the leader or the captain, just to get this point alive, but they've been booped around everywhere, and it's looking like it's a dire situation. No touches, and it's a clean 2-0, 0-100 for Solar Eclipse for map 1.
Wow, I mean that fight where they were trying to make a rotation, the Phantoms, but they got found out quickly, and then it was just all downhill from there. Revert's the MVP of that one for sure. A massive barrage to cut that one out. Here they are on the control center doing the work again. Just well done from the side of Solar Eclipse.
Yeah, well done understanding what their, I guess, condition, where they want to play, how they want to execute their plan, and making the adjustments as needed, because you did see where the Pharah wanted to at least barrage initially, but because Phantoms rotated in a different way, they said, hey, we're just going to turn things around and barrage in that tiny room. And the perk of Pharah to just reverse the boop and just cluster people around it really helps enable that even further. So just great job in understanding rotations and how to adjust a fight plan in order to still get the condition you want to happen in the end.
Yeah, a pretty emphatic win here from the side of Solar Eclipse, but the series is not over yet. This is a 1-3 in our double elimination bracket of the Diamond tier. But the Phantoms, they will be the ones, I believe, to pick the next map, so maybe it'll be one that they have scrimmed on heavily, like you've mentioned. We've seen, Kings Row plenty of times here in the CGL. I wouldn't be surprised if we see it here tonight, or they could go for something tricky. What if they go straight to Flashpoint or something that might give them a little bit of momentum moving forward?
Yep, I think if you see Solar Eclipse playing their brawl in this kind of manner, you may want to switch up potentially the type of composition you want to run, force them into a map type that maybe leans in better favor to a dive, right? I'm thinking escort maps like Watchpoint Gibraltar, or maybe like the more pesky dive maps like Numbani, dreaded by a lot of people till this day, even with the rework. So I think that's one way Phantoms can maybe turn things around. Another could just be also going to maybe a brawl map that leans more in favor to what a Mauga needs to survive longer and to get more value.
That was going to be my point. Yeah, that's a really good observation. I'm curious to see if Azure will move to a different tank, or if they just played the Malga on the control, and that's not really what this team Phantoms wants to run. They just think that maybe the perk is just really strong, and that's what they could work with. But because I don't know, I just didn't see too much from him. I think we saw one cage fight throughout that first map, and I would like to see a little bit more from this rookie tank player moving forward in this series. So maybe a map pick that facilitates them on maybe a specialist tank hero that they enjoy could really get them into their groove here. It sounds like I'm hearing the eye in the sky. I'm hearing Echo in our headset saying that King's Row will be the pick.
Well, the one thing about King's Row is, just like Lijiang Tower, the most tried, tested, and true hybrid map of the Overwatch universe. And just like Lijiang Tower, also a map known for, more interesting things happening as teams try to reinvent and innovate what they can do in a map. But judging from what these teams are running, I wouldn't be surprised if they still stick to what may be tried and tested in King's Row, and that's usually a brawl composition. But Phantoms, as the losers of the last map, get to ban first, and it seems like they might ban something that might be giving them problems, something that might cause their Mauga not to survive as long.
I wonder if they... I was going to say, do they go for the Pharah? Yeah, because, I mean, Reverts on that Pharah was just a menace in the sky. Could not be tracked, could not be taken down. It was just getting so much work done. So I think that's a really intelligent play from them. Now it's up to Solar-Eclipse to decide what to ban out next. I think they might go for a support.
I'm thinking maybe it won't be a support, only for the sole reason that I think we're in a current state of the game where banning a support really doesn't have much impact unless you know a player is a one trick, and at that point that's a targeted ban. I'm thinking maybe it's going to be a tank, and it's going to be one that just denies a choke space. And it seems like Solar-Eclipse are thinking that Mauga, which Azure did play and was at least stuffing chokes with, at least in Control Center, might be a problem for them once it enters into King's Row, which is also a very choke lane heavy type of map.
Yeah, and that's the thing, right? It's because the Phantoms ban out a DPS that only leaves a tank or a support left, and knowing that Azure was on the Malga, maybe that's the only thing they can play or whatever, you're going to go for that. We are seeing, though, some substitutes here, my friend. Tippy has now come in for the tank position, and Synarchy has come in for its Verts on the support line. So an interesting tactical switch up for the side of Solar-Eclipse.
I have an inkling that it's possible that Tippy could be someone who is just more heavily proficient in brawlier tanks, right? It seems like Cloud Lemon, you would want the player in really more for the flexibility that the player has. They were able to play the Ramatra, and then the next point they were able to play the Diva. So if you're looking for a tank with more flexibility, it seems like Cloud Lemon is their tank. But on the other end, you have Tippy, who already, we're being teased, has locked in that Ramatra. So I think it might be a read from Solar-Eclipse that this is going to be a brawl v brawl kind of situation, and would like to lean into that even further by putting maybe their brawl tank specialist on the field.
Makes a lot of sense to me. That's why you're the analyst and I'm just the guy that says all the funny words. But for now, setting up on the defense is Solar-Eclipse, and Phantoms going for the attack. Will they be able to break through this stalwart line from Solar-Eclipse, right? And cap the point first? We will see as they're making their way out of the gates now. Ramatra v Ramatra is what we have. I'm seeing Maddie on the Mei. Maybe that's why they banned it out first. She's already running through the choke. The ice block forced out as well. The rest of the team not necessarily following her up there, but they need to be as they're making their way through and around the statue. The Ravenous Vortex has been expended here. Ana, Synarchy on this high ground, just pelting into healing. This is uncontested. They are painted in purple, are a bunch of members, and that will seal their fates. Back to the spawn room doors they go. This push is over.
Right, and this is what Phantoms have to realize now. Okay, Solar-Eclipse are running this Ana Kiriko backline. That means they can hold different angles. But what is the biggest problem to any brawl push? That's going to be a huge anti-nade from Synarchy, more one way or another. So how do we push them off? How do we make them be in a not so great position? That's going to be Phantom's question as they push through the choke. And one of the ways you could do that is through, taking the high ground from them, but that's going to require rotations. So I see they'd rather just push the point and maybe deny playing in the LOS of the Ana.
Yeah, it's going to be really tough to get onto that high ground. They need a Genji or somebody who can really just scale those walls. And as I'm saying it, the nano boost right onto Tippy, and he just goes into the rest of the team, takes them all down. That fight is said, done, and dusted. Maybe a compositional change is needed here for the Phantoms to dislodge Solar-Eclipse from some of these high ground areas.
Right, I think one way you could do that might be to have your Cassidy maybe switch to the Sojourn pressure and angle that the Ana wants to play in. Another way is to at least go as a team and help that rotation. And they're already taking a rotation, and there's a Genji in.
Oh man, Hollander, he unleashes the blade. The dragon is hungry, does claim one, does go down for it. The Nemesis form expended though from the side of Azure. That's their get out of jail free card basically. Now it's like the Spider-Man meme. They're just looking at each other in this alleyway trying to get something done. The Annihilation has been popped. The Suzu has been forced out as well, but they're fine to just stay right here. Is Tippy, knowing that those nanobots are going to be chunking away, forces out the sound barrier from Mystic. Caught in a rock in a hard place. Here is the side of Phantoms that does force Tippy to back off, but the healing is there for the rest of the squad, but it's not enough. Abjur turns the tempo, as our mantra is known for, and it's finally, the nut has been cracked. Phantoms on point.
Manages to do so before Azure drops any lower than 41 HP, looking very dire. I'm actually pretty surprised that Mystic, the way they managed to open that up was really to miss the double support ult. I was wondering whether player Maddie would end up dropping the Blizzard instead, seeing that Tippy was incredibly low and force out another major ult from Solar-Eclipse, but that wasn't the case. So now they're pushing through this choke with 3 ultimates to work with, one of them being a Blizzard. That's just going to allow the card to continue rolling.
And there it is, Snowball, he's joining the fight, puts himself down, freezing some folks up, and it's Hollander who succumbs to the cold there, but it's Revert's getting some revenge for their DPS partner. It's the overclock, and it is good. Takes down 2. The cart will hold here for now. Ultimates expended on either side.
Yep, and I think if you are Phantoms, that's completely fine using maybe just that Blizzard to try to push everyone else back from Solar-Eclipse. Solar-Eclipse having to use their Sojourn ultimate, so they don't really have anything to work with except maybe this nano that's coming from Synarchy, and they're just building it incredibly quickly. So high noon to create space.
Yeah, they're pushing him right in the wall, though, to block off Tippy. They have the block in, but that's a ton of damage. A fully charged Deadeye to the face. He goes tumbling down. Revert's trying to get a little bit of revenge. Does so there. It's a trade, but you want the tank down every day of the week. Space taken here for the side of the Phantoms.
Space taken, Nano still online for Solar-Eclipse, so they're going to push into this next fight definitely with that Nano. Maybe wait for Hollander to build towards a Blade, because they are building closer towards it, but Azure already has taken Diana.
Oh, Azure, and he has to pop the Annihilation, though, because they were on death's doorstep. So still, taking a lot of space, but that is a crucial ultimate. And way out of position here is Azure. I don't think they'll be surviving for very long, but there is Reverts just peppering in the damage. Somehow, some way, Solar-Eclipse, they have to get to the cart.
I mean, they'll have time, because there really was just one person in on it, and now that they're a full 5, they can go in, but Rush already committed by Soda.
Oh, and that is huge to kind of stave off the advance, but it is a Nano Blade, ladies and gentlemen, the first of the series. But it's really Tippy who's deadlifting the squad here with the Annihilation. A big ultimate dump, but sometimes in those dire situations, you need to do it. Finally, the cart stops its movement.
This is one of the few times where, there's a benefit to pushing up, but there's also a benefit to having 3 on the cart. And at that given moment, Phantoms needed 3 on the cart, right? Azure had taken up so much of this space already. It's really up on him to go back to the team when he drops to like half HP. But hey, they now have a wall, semi-walled off the tank of Solar-Eclipse, but doesn't really get value from Blizzard.
Wow, that was a great rotation from Tippy, tiptoeing the way around the wall, and that is the Kitsune Rush expended by Xerneas, facilitating the team from the grave, but it is the side of the Phantoms, the Ghosts. They know where the grave is, and they are the masters of it. They are winning this fight outright. It's now Tippy, the lone member of the Solar-Eclipse, trying to shine on the point here. Does get one with the pummel. The Deadeye does come out, shielded off nicely. Now he's just going to be pelting in those nanobots, trying to go for the Vortex as well. Tippy is a madman out here, holding the point on his own. The fight keeps going, and Tippy turns it. My goodness.
I can honestly, not just Tippy, Synarchy made Tippy stay alive throughout all of that. No one was bothering him on that high ground and got that huge anti-nade that helped, you know, just absorb melt in front of Tippy. So that's why Phantoms couldn't complete the push, because their tank was down, and Solar-Eclipse, it was fine. They still had their tank, they still had their Ana. That's survivable if no one bothers the Ana. But now they also have a Ramattra ultimate, and they're probably going to stuff any push from Phantoms with it.
If they even need to. There it is. Yes, the Annihilation does come out as well as a Dragon Blade. I thought I saw. No, it was just somebody slicing through, and it is Hollander. Oh my gosh, a 15 kill streak. The overtime wick burns. There, the cart will hold. Solar-Eclipse now will move to attack.
You know, if there's one thing a certain other 6v6 game has that Overwatch doesn't have, is the cart being able to move on its own without a person on it. I feel like at that moment, Phantoms wished Overwatch had that, but that is a dream for the future, or maybe something that will never happen, because you want distinguishing factors between games. But they have at least distinguished themselves with the ability to push up and, you know, take the space that, you know, is freely just given to them, just at the cost of, you know, maybe we forget we're playing a point objective game. So Solar-Eclipse capitalizing on the card really not moving as quickly as it could have during the second point. So now Phantoms knows what their defense ultimatum is. It's now a question of, okay, how are we going to make sure we burn the time or any opportunity for Solar-Eclipse to even cap the first point? Because I think one of the ways that Phantoms could at least stop any of this progress really is to stop them at first point.
It's got to be a full hold. You're absolutely right, because we know sometimes in the streets phase, the cart seemingly does not stop, and you can roll all the way home. And with the golden box of victory right there at point 2, that is where they need to get this cart. Right now, Solar-Eclipse kind of deciding what DPS line they want to roll out here. Looks like Reverts will be just peeking out here on the Widow, seeing if they can click an unsuspecting head that might be peeking around a corner. Doesn't find anything but sticks on the Widowmaker. This could be a difference maker. Hollander tossed out a few grenades, decided against it, switched back to the Genji. Right now, moving through the choke point easily is the side of Solar-Eclipse. They're just looking to bully their way right on the point, and there is Reverts opening up the kill feed here in this one. Finds themselves in elimination. Immediately, Salt claps back onto that one, though. Synarchy, they are under duress, but they have such good synergy with Tippy. They know exactly where they are at all times, keeping their tank alive and themselves. Now onto the point they go, corralling them away from it with the Ravenous Vortex. Solar-Eclipse, they're on the point.
They're on the point, but Phantoms will be able to be 5 when they regroup, when Salt is back. They can potentially push, maybe through forcing out the cooldowns of Tippy, but with what Solar-Eclipse are running, I think there's an opportunity to just further go in, and that's exactly what they're doing.
Okay, off the back of Mystic, they speed boost them their way in, but Reverts had switched to the Soldier somehow, some way, getting back into the point, and now onto these high ground off angles. So didn't even know where the bullets were raining down from, and they get eliminated. A cheeky little switch there from the side of Solar-Eclipse, and now after a team kill, the point is theirs.
Let me give credit to Azure from Phantoms. Like, he understands what is causing the Phantoms pain, in whether retaking the point or even just defending the cart. And it's really going to be Synarchy on this Ana. The anti-nades have been forcing out the cooldowns of Soda. The Suzu ends up being used pretty early on because everyone else on Solar-Eclipse will just push in on whoever's antied. And that's been the game plan of Solar-Eclipse. So unless they find another way to just also deny this Ana any space, this is looking like a huge struggle for Phantoms. But they at least have 3 ultimates to work with to deny anything. But it's a Nano Blade incumbent. That's gonna be nice.
Yeah, very, very scary there. But it's Revert Snow goes tumbling into the sewers of England. Must have fallen into that little pit on the side there. But it doesn't even matter. Hollander says, I got your back, buddy. And he gets 2 for himself as well. Tippy, he's just standing tall. Nobody can take him down. And it's Azure running for his life. Tippy with a double kill.
Yep, and you could see how conveniently Tippy's just like, nah, we're not pushing it forward. We're full capping this. Let's get 3 on point. Let's get 3 on point. That's what the comms are going to be. And exactly now they have 3 on point. They're just pushing forward with Synarchy being the front line at this point. Trying to create an opening, but I don't think they'll need it as much, especially when they have 3 ultimates to work with. Opening up and most likely with a Nano Blade.
And there it is, right into the back line. He goes, and it's Synarchy who gets the first blood in this engagement. A nice defensive blizzard there to hold the Cybernetic Ninja into place, but Tippy has one in reserve, and that is the Annihilation combined with the Orbital Raid. Nobody can stand against the might of that combination of ultimates, and there it is. The Phantom's now turned into Ghost for real this time. A Desperation Annihilation has to be, but all for naught. To the golden box of victory we go. Solar-Eclipse take map number 2.
Map number 2, and also we're heading to match point at this rate. Solar-Eclipse, understanding what their push conditions are, what is their go button, and capitalizing on it very well against the Phantoms team. Phantoms, though, they have an understanding of what they want to use, at least to retake a point or a fight. I think a lot of this just boils down to possibly just the tempo is one, and could also just be, okay, when do we use ultimates? Because sometimes it feels like they're just holding on to it for way too long when they need to be the first ones to jump with it at times, even if they're on the defense.
For me, it was the Ana, just uncontested, as you had pointed out time and time again. Their composition, it very brawly, but no one was able to get to that Ana who was perfectly positioned and just keeping everybody alive. You needed somebody, dare I say, a Sombra, who could just kind of sneak back there, at least turn some attention for an instance, and then allow the rest of the team to work off of that. You needed some harassment, some way to shift Synarchy's focus away from Tippy, and maybe you can then collapse on Tippy and take him down. So for me, maybe a compositional change would have helped, but we will see. Now, Solar-Eclipse up 2-0 here in this series. They are on match point.
It is match point, but before we head to that match point, we will be taking a very short break, and maybe a break that this Phantom squad definitely needs to put things together and think of a game plan to turn things around as we head back to map 3 once we're back from the break.
Cash and the ticket is yours. Cash and the ticket is yours. Yo. Cash and the ticket is yours. Cash and the ticket is yours. Cash and the ticket is yours. Yo. Cash and the ticket is yours. Yours. Yeah.
Memories. Memories. Yeah. Memories. Memories.
Welcome back, everybody. HD Philly B here, along with the one and only Thor, and you are right in the middle of a NA Diamond Tier playoff match between Solar Eclipse and Phantoms. Currently, Solar Eclipse up 2-0 here in the series. They're looking to close this one out as we head to Saravasa.
Saravasa, just another brawling map, and I think if you are someone who feels comfortable in brawling maps, that's another one you go to. You really try to avoid going to a hybrid or to a escort map, which tends to be less brawly. You could force it, but tends to be more of a variety. Many things can happen. So, this move to Saravasa just really indicates that Phantoms do want to stick to playing a brawl. And now that the Mauga cannot be banned anymore, that means Azur has free reign to play the Mauga again. So we are going to head to the bans with Phantoms being the first to ban. And we've talked about what characters are giving Phantoms big problems, and I think if there's one thing that Saravasa as a map provides is that it's kind of more difficult to play characters like an Ana. So you're probably not going to expect one, and not like Phantoms can ban the Ana again. But it might be, maybe a DPS that they're going to try to prevent. Maybe that Genji, because the Genji was really impactful, but it seems like they'd rather go for a Kiriko ban. So that already sort of tailors what backline you're already expecting from these teams. Most likely something like a Brig Juno or a Juno Lucio, or one way or another, maybe like a Ana Brig. Let's see how it, or Ana Lucio. Let's see how it goes.
I'm very curious. I'm surprised they didn't ban Ramatra. I mean, both of the tank players for the side of Solar Eclipse have been devastating on that character. So Solar-Eclipse, okay, they're banning it out themselves here. Maybe just doing a little bit of a Achilles heel moment, or maybe they want to do a Malga v Malga matchup. I don't know, but interesting bans coming out from both of these squads, hopping into what could be the final map of this round 1 playoff.
I think the Ramatra ban might also just be in response to maybe what the normal backline, the expected backline Phantoms might be running is, right? If you're running something like a Juno Brig, you'd want a Ramatra instead, right? Because they have this a bit more abilities to sustain, even to block out any damage from coming in for just a bit. So, you know, maybe that's why they respond to that Ram ban. Like, it forces the Phantoms to think of, okay, what's going to work with our Brig Juno? But we do have substitutions from all sides of this game. We have Cloud Lemon coming in, back again. Did very solidly well on that Diva. It's for... He was in our other one. Wait a minute.
They just switched to the main support instead of flex support role. But yeah, so interesting to see how Synarchy and Cloud Lemon work together. And I believe Rhapsody was the substitute for the side of Phantoms, moving in for Maddie. So maybe a little change to that DPS role, because maybe they have a Somber or Tracer now in Rhapsody that can get into that backline and cause some devastation.
It might be also a flexibility of a hero pool, or you know, Rhapsody has a character that just fits very well in these maps, and if there's one character that seems to be quintessential in most Flashpoint maps, it has been the very, very annoying Venture. So if Rhapsody is coming in, it's possibly because he can play that Venture. It also could be another reason, but it seems like it might take a bit of time for our players to load in, so we'll see what's going on. But just judging from these player swaps or substitutions for these two teams, this might be more of a case of, for the side of Solar-Eclipse, you want a tank that has more flexibility.
Yeah, go ahead.
I think that's where I was going to end. Like, it's pretty much you want a tank with more flexibility.
Okay. Yeah, we do have some roster sheets which shows like their most played hero, their favorite hero, things like that. Rhapsody, their most played hero, Widowmaker. Their favorite hero, also Widowmaker. I don't know if Widowmaker is the best choice on Saravasa, so that doesn't tell us too much, unfortunately. But just based on Thor, what we saw there at the beginning, I believe I saw the Wrecking Ball as well as the Bastion and the Mercy, hovered over by Solar-Eclipse. What do you make of that?
Has to be okay. That has to be a troll, one way or another. Because here's the thing: it's not that the three characters are a problem, right? It's the three characters together. The composition makes no sense. So I could understand seeing maybe a Wrecking Ball with that Mercy, but the boss generally throws it off. Maybe you could have a Bastion and a Mercy, but then the question is like, why is Cloud Lemon on that Wrecking Ball? Or you could have a Wrecking Ball with a Bastion, then the Mercy just feels out of place also, because like depending how they want to play it, you need more heals. But definitely we're teasing us because we're running into Ana Lucio, one of my favorite OG Overwatch 1 backlines, right? And going with a Monkey, this is pretty interesting. I think this might be allowing a more divier potential onto this backline of Phantoms.
But that's interesting. It's like, who really is your dive target? Because the Venture can get away, the Sojourn's pretty slippery as well. You're just tickling the Malga, and then maybe it's the Juno, but she can fly up. So Winston, I think for me, might have a tough time finding somebody to go on here.
It might be a tough time, but it also could be forcing out cooldowns, splitting them with that bubble, because that bubble is immensely impactful with Hollander already finding Salt in that off angle.
Oh man, yeah, talking about splitting people up. Hollander just corralling Salt into that dark alleyway and just mugging them. Now they're back to the spawn room doors. Soda getting extremely low, has to take a quick drink there to get themselves back up. Oh, the 1v1 of Hollander versus Rhapsody almost goes the way of Rhapsody. They back off for now, but the point in favor of Solar-Eclipse.
Point ticking, and with ultimate already online, very close is Hollander, and doing a good job with that huge kill onto Salt. So if you're Phantoms, you want at least your Venture to be marking that Tracer, because they're the only one who could survive, but that's a struggle when you're getting peppered by bullets like up the noggin.
Wow, that was a quick 100 to 0, and then the bomb comes through as well. Mystic just gets blown up. Hollander is a menace out here. Nobody can take this player down.
No one can, and they're doing it all on their lonesome. The Phantom's backline really just preoccupied with it, and that's causing problems because Azure really can't push in. Look at that ultimate charge, nothing really to save from it. I think the compositional swap might be necessary for Phantoms if they really want to continue playing this.
Rhapsody has to dive onto the point and drill underground to get the overtime wick of burning. That does create a little bit of space for the rest of the team to come through, but it's Reverts who opens up the kill feed, gets a double for themselves, but a little clap back here from the side of the Phantoms. Oh, but it's Reverts on a dare. My goodness, takes down the entire team. Point one goes the way of Solar-Eclipse.
And the ultimates are just looking like they're favoring Solar-Eclipse. Synarchy very close to that Nano, and Cloud Lemon Reverse next in line for Phantom, still waiting to even hit that 75% mark for any of the ultimates. So this is going to be a painful retake for them, and they're really going to have to build ultimates, or at least ultimates are charged for what might be for their second fight, because they really might not be able to push this with Synarchy already 90% on that Nano. Probably waiting to build that up and then engaging with it.
Yeah, and if you put that right on the Winston, that definitely is going to get them to the Primal Rage, and then that's going to be really tough. But it's Rhapsody who gets caught out first, and there it is, the Nano. He's jumping right into the back line, knows exactly who he's going for. Mystic, not long for this world, and Soto follows him right into the grave. A great combination between those two off the back of that Nano.
Yeah, it makes me wonder now why there is this, Kiriko ban from Phantoms, because the nades of Synarchy are just doing so much damage onto the team, and with that pulse bomb commit that almost gets Rhapsody in the process, dropping already very low. So if I'm Phantoms, I think I want to at least help Salt build towards this overclock to at least create an opening and maybe the Venture ultimate. But already another anti from Synarchy from No Man's Land.
And we were talking about that in the green room. That has just been the thorn in the side of Phantoms. They can't do anything against these grenades. They are just too pinpoint. Almost getting boofed off the edge, though, is the side of the Phantoms, but they are able to get back on, but it doesn't even matter as the Tesla cannon just zaps right through them. Again, they hold Thor. It's so hard to do these economical pushes on flashpoints because the percentage just ticks up so fast.
Yep, and if I am Phantoms, I really need to start thinking, like, am I willing to wait that long for my supports to get ultimates? Just to win one fight? Maybe, but they are able to charge in with the Sojourn ultimate, but it's a bit too late. Cap already turning over to Solar-Eclipse, and the picks still going along the way of Solar-Eclipse, back and forth, blue and red, and at this point, why are we still fighting on the point? I don't know, but it might force out another ultimate. Hey, if Phantoms have something that they say from this fight that they lost before it even began, is they finally have at least one support ultimate and another one from Rhapsody. So what I want to see is for them to be proactive with this, especially when Solar-Eclipse has 3 ultimates to work with, and Hollander has been getting a lot of damage in with these pulse bombs.
Absolutely. If you can't get those economical pushes while the point is going, maybe after the fact when it doesn't really matter that much, you can. The pulse bomb wide from the side of Hollander, but that's okay. They'll just get it back. I think that's their 3rd one so far. A gauge fight here from the side of Zor, locking the scientist into place, but the Lucio brings the party in, drops the beat, but it just gets chunked away. A good collapse here for the side of the Phantoms, and they flip it first.
Honestly, also a good economic fight from Phantoms, right? Yes, you invested the cage, yes, you invested the rally, but I think if you want at least this point to go in your favor first, to have more chances to keep the point and stay on the point. Solar-Eclipse still has that primal, so I wouldn't be surprised if the plan for this is really just to possibly use the primal for Cloud Lemon to survive the first push. Once it drops, then use the nano, because Synarchy is building towards it again. It could also be use the nano first, and then if it expands and Cloud Lemon is down, it drops. But Soda already taken out of the fight before it starts!
Oh no, the Phantoms, they didn't retreat in a coordinated fashion. They split themselves in 2, and with a team such as Solar-Eclipse, they are gonna decimate you. After that, an easy fight take. Didn't have to spend anything for that one, Thor.
Yeah, Solar-Eclipse really parted the Phantoms like the Red Sea, and unfortunately, that's how the cookie crumbles, and they expended really no ultimates for that, so now they're coming in with 3. Phantom still has their 2 from the beginning, And this is at least going to be most likely an orbital versus nano kind of situation. And they're already proactive.
Wow, yeah, really forcing the issue here. They found their targets in Soda and taking them down. I believe that the Sojourn will be next. I thought the Brigitte was about to go down as well, but now the Primal Rage is being popped. The Scientist is angry, but it's using that just to get out, but he's buying all the time in the world for that percent to accrue. You would say that's a fight win here for the side of Solar-Eclipse.
Yeah, and they know where Rhapsody is, so I think the struggle for Phantoms right now is they really have to engage, and they finally use the orbital to engage.
Okay, and could that be what it takes to turn the tide? So far, two go in. Another Pulse Bomb does not find the mark here from Hollander. That was going to be their saving grace. The point flipped for the side of Phantoms. I don't think anyone's going to be able to flip it back for the side of Solar-Eclipse. Finally, on the scoreboard here are the Phantoms. The series continues.
And honestly, economical fight, Soda, only ultimate use for that. Solar-Eclipse probably used 2 in that fight, so 3 potentially, so oh no, just 2. So it's honestly looking in the favor of Phantoms right now. This is at least going to be what I want to see, a Sojourn v Sojourn kind of situation with their overclocks, because that's going to deny space from both sides, and so it's going to be more of a brawl and really just targeting the Sojourns and melting them.
Okay, the DPS are going to have to carry right now. The dig site, oh, denied the permit. And there goes Rhapsody Reverts. I was about to say we know what they can do with the overclock, and they didn't actually even use it. Still have that ultimate ready in the wings should it come to that. But right now, Azure, just the last man standing. They go down. The point goes to Solar-Eclipse.
And I think the nice thing for Phantoms, though, is maybe the point wasn't theirs to begin with, but only you losing the Venture ult there is completely fine. You had forced out a couple of other ultimates already from Solar-Eclipse, so that means, hey, it should be solid. Now, I want Phantoms to be proactive, come in with this cage, find that Ana before they can even build towards that Nano, right? Because even if they can pop it outside, no one's going to help the Ana inside.
Absolutely, and we've seen it before, the cage fight rally combination, but there it is, the engage, the dive to perfection, painted in purple and then taken down by the diving of the Winston. There is the overclock nano for the side of Rebirths, really facilitating the carry, so to speak, and there is a team kill for the way of Solar-Eclipse. They are shining bright in this one.
Look, if there's one thing I'm pretty sure Solar-Eclipse is going to do, they're going to have Hollander very close to the spawn doors of Phantoms, hoping to get that massive hit. Because then that denies any push or touch or recontest from Phantoms, and from the looks of it, it's a bit too late for the venture of Rhapsody. They managed to take a point from Solar-Eclipse, which is not enough to turn this map and match around. It's a clean trio for Solar-Eclipse.
Dang, I thought the drill dash was going to be able to touch just in time, but the seconds just dwindled away from the side of Rhapsody. Unfortunately, we will bid farewell to the side of Phantoms. I'm sure we will see them again. Solar-Eclipse, they move on to face Cuddle Puddle, who they faced in week 1 of the CGL Season 15. I had the pleasure of casting that match. I look forward to hopefully casting that one again. Folks, what a blistering series that was. We have more CGL action on CGL 1 for our Masters Division. That one might be going the distance, but before we do that, we have an interview for you. We're going to head to a short break. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back, everybody. HD Philly B here, along with Thor. We just witnessed a very convincing 3-0 victory for the side of Solar-Eclipse, and we have a wonderful interview for you today. We have the extraordinaire DPS Hollander themselves for you, and we have a couple of questions for them. There we go. Now we got him on the screen. Welcome, my friend. Congratulations on the win. I'm going to start with my questions first. I always get to ask the fun ones. Thor will do the more hard-hitting ones that make your brain hurt. But first, my question is, who do you like to play better, the Tracer or the Genji?
To be honest, I don't know. I used to be like kind of a Tracer one trick. And then recently, like the only level I perform, well, I wouldn't say the only, but I've been performing very well on the Genji. But honestly, I've really enjoyed expanding my hero pool into a lot of other things that I think you guys will see later in the tournament. Yeah, but I would say equally as much, but I really enjoy just swapping around characters, kind of being a flex player.
Okay, awesome. And that's what Overwatch is all about.
Yep, and I think if you are that, the flex DPS player, you really gotta add more heroes into the pool all the time. But what is interesting is I think you're one of the few teams that have constant, player swaps. So what is usually the deciding factor of the team of who comes in for a given map?
It's really just based around the comps that we want to play. To be honest, most of our players could play every comp, and we could have just 5 that switch around. But we enjoy a large roster because it allows us availability for scheduling. Like we can scrim pretty much all the time, whether or not we have everyone. But then we just start to build certain synergies and like well-practiced things. Like you'll see Cloud comes in a lot when we like to play a little bit more fast, a little bit dive. Tippy, a new tank, new addition to our roster, likes to play a lot of the brawl, but it always switches around. We just kind of have fun with it, get everybody some time. Yeah, that's mostly the thoughts behind the roster swaps, and we do have a lot. So,
And it is a really deep, roster you guys have. So it's nice to know that it's the balance of who's playing at what map is really based on just who's having fun and really giving each person playing time. But you are going to be facing Cuddle Puddle for this, for your next match. And I know you won against them, I think, on the first week. So it's been a long time since you've played them. So are there any preparations the team's going to be doing to make sure you still get that win again against them?
yeah, so we ended up playing them in the finals of mid-season as well, where we won that one as well. I think they're a solid team. They've definitely got some strategies they work with. However, we're pretty aware of them, and we scrim a lot of teams with the intention of being prepared for anything that could happen. So we are well prepared for pretty much any match that comes throughout this tournament. We've kind of made sure of that. Haven't taken any breaks throughout the entire season. Just constantly scrimming against new adaptations of metas and all of that. So we really feel confident that anything they bring at us, we have an answer.
Fantastic. All right. Well, I'm going to ask you one more question. I see your profile icon is Hunter x Hunter. You have Gong and you have Killua. Between those two, who's your favorite?
Gong.
Okay. All right. The protagonist.
Yes, of course.
Fair enough. Well, Hollander, final thing here is, while we have you on the interview, is there anyone you'd like to shout out?
Besides just saying the entire team, definitely Vert. He's our manager. He keeps us all together. I think Cloud as well. I guess he's technically like co-captain or second captain. Even if that's not like an official role, he does a lot of preparation for us. Looks at all the comps that other teams are playing and helps us out in that regard. Then other than that, my entire team it has always been pretty focused when it comes to getting better, and I really appreciate that. What more can I ask for as captain?
Yeah, that's awesome. Great synergy between you all. We look to see more of you in the future. Congratulations once again on the win.
All right, thank you. Have a good one.
All right, folks, that was Hollander, the DPS extraordinaire from the side of Solar-Eclipse. They move on to the second round of our Diamond Tier NA tournament. Folks, we still have a ton of action here for you at the CGL. Over on CGL 1, we have our Masters Round 1 matchup going on right now, currently tied, or no, they just finished their third map, so now it's 2-1 for the Celestial Knights, so one you want to check out. And then we have action all week long. Pretty much every day of the week, there's going to be some sort of playoff, whether it's EU or NA. We have action for you, so make sure you like and subscribe on both channels so you never miss a single match.
Exactly, but at least for the CGL2 Twitch, that is pretty much it for us, for HD Philly B and me, Thoriumea. But hey, go over to CGL1. There is so much action to go for, and hey, if a 2-1 scoreline says anything, you're definitely going to be running into a map 4. But until then, and for more Overwatch, you can head over there or just wait for, the next day. There's going to be more banger matches for next weekend, as HD Philly said, and for the rest of the week, as it is playoff season. So until then, have a wonderful night, and thank you to our production team, Echo, our producer, and Orange, our observer, for doing a great job and, helping bring this action to life. But until then, everyone have a good night, and hey, we'll see you next time.
Bye.